I'm going splash or pre-intro. Intro. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
And your source for esports racing is live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Full Velocity Racing Network, live tonight from the Homestead Miami Speedway Championship night for a Tuesday evening with the Hobo Racing League, the Voiles Trucking Cup Series, and it comes to you live tonight via Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch TV. Hello, everybody. Phil LaCasse here, the Mouthful of South, alongside Mr. Blake Michaelis, Jack Chewin on the controls. Bobby Farrell's also here. We got this thing covered from wall to wall tonight. And Blake, we come into Homestead, the Final Four on tap. It comes down to the likes of Keila Jules, Harry Codian, Caleb Lingle, and Herman Reese. One of those four drivers at the end of 107 laps will be the series champion. But, God, so much can happen between now and then, man. I am itching, ready to rock and roll. I'm sure you are as well.
No doubt about it, Phil. I'm just thinking back to last week. Our post-race interviews were both KJ and especially Herman Reese sounded really confident coming into tonight. So no doubt it's going to be a show between those two guys and the rest of our championship four tonight. And it looks like, if anything, it looks like Caleb Lingle, one of those guys that is going to be running up front. He's our top starter among those four. He starts in fourth, but nevertheless, Phil, a lot going to happen tonight, and what'll hopefully be a nice bow on the season here at Hobo.
Absolutely right. Looking forward to seeing how this one comes. So what do you say we take this thing trackside, pay honor to this great nation, the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, the playing of our national anthem.
What do you do? Just put water on there? Sharded. You sharded. No, he crapped his pants so bad that it stunk to high heaven, and then he was laughing and I made him go live. Because I'm a jackass. Around. Three, two, one, go.
Follow that one, Jack. Back here live on the Full Velocity Racing Network. We are duelist and clueless here tonight, but we are going to have a terrific night of racing here in the Final Four Hobo Racing Cup Series. All comes down to this. And Bobby Farrell, let me bring you into the conversation. A guy who's been out there in practice mode with a lot of these guys all night long. First of all, a fixed setup racer with an open setup league. Out there making some laps. How do you feel after all that?
Extremely slow, Phil. I was out there. These guys allowed me to bring my own car out tonight, run some practice, get a feel for the track. But these guys definitely got me beat. I was towards the tail end of the speed chart here.
Well, toward a tail end, but not a tail end. So we'll give him a little bit of love for that. But Blake, we're through the end of qualifying. The Carsville Stars are gritting. Let's give it a shot here for the first time tonight. A Voiles Trucking full velocity starting lineup.
Starting on the pole tonight will be Jordan McGregor. Alongside him on the front row tonight, Eddie Rayleigh in second. Starting third is Keith McLean. He fell out of the championship four after wrecking out of Phoenix last week. And fourth will be our first championship contender, Caleb Lingle. Gary Morin will roll off fifth. Sixth will be another contender, Herman Reese. Seventh, Danny Rubino. Eighth, Fugate. Ninth, Harry Codian. 10th, Jason San Diego. Let's throw it trackside for the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines.
Really glad you said motorsports right there. I was ready to scream play ball and a yeehaw, but nope, we're racing, of course, here tonight. Rolling off 11th aboard car number 85 will be Ricky Bumbelow, and alongside a championship contender aboard at number 029. That is Kayla Jules on the 13th starter tonight aboard car number 6. That is Rich Napick with the number 31 of Jeff Stakanis on the outside. Troy Donahue rolls off 15th aboard the 81 with Ron Simpson's number 25. Duke Sorensen's number 59 is flanked with the 21 of Steve Rubino, and alongside of him, running out top 20, Brendan Spadafora and Steve Grant in the number 11 roll off 20th.
21st will be Maverick. 22nd, Ralph Pauly. 23rd, the first car to not take time tonight, will be Brett Carter. 24th will be Bob Gibson. 25th, Kevin Roy. 26th, Ryan Keller. 27th, Wiley King. 28th, Manny Diaz. 29th, Randy Smith. And then 30th, Pushrod 17. So, Phil, sometimes you see these fields dwindle a little bit as we get to the end of the year. Not here at Hobo. Still 30 cars strong here for the season finale.
Man, that's awesome to see. You usually see you said those last couple of weeks, you see the field size that's kind of decreased, and it's kind of been like that for the whole in our community this last half of the season for a lot of leagues. The car counts have been very stable and very good, and we got a great one here. 30 cars, 107 laps on the Homestead Miami Speedway. The Full Velocity Racing Network Chevrolet Corvette pace car is on to pit road, and for the very first time tonight, we go under the iRacingIFlag.com green flag up in the air. Jordan McGregor going to lead Eddie Rayleigh down to the turn number 1 and 2. Right away, we almost got a 3-car race to the lead. Keith McLean, number 28. He's the first car down low, making things happen. Blake off the exit of turn 2.
And as you can see, he's kind of a lone wolf down there. It looks like the high side, kind of that middle groove that you'll see here at Homestead, is going to be where you want to run. You see it right there. McLean will tuck it back in fourth and kind of running that middle, the high side. Everybody starting to favor the top of the racetrack. That's the type of version these guys are running here tonight. A Homestead that's more akin to what you see in real life. These guys might be running a little bit of that Kyle Larson line all night.
Oh, Kyle Larson line up high against the wall. This is a version of the racetrack I am a fan of driving, but it can be awfully tough at times. And for a guy like yourself, Bobby, who just came off the racetrack, yes, it's an open setup. You're out there to fix setup. That Brendan kind of hands you out there to kind of make some laps, but you were out there around some traffic. How's this place going to be as far as passability and drivability for these cars all night?
I think smashing is going to be a little tough. I think everybody's going to want to run that middle line like Blake was saying. I mean, everybody seemed to be in that line during practice, and I didn't see a whole lot of passing going on there, so not sure we're going to see a whole lot of passing during the race either.
What we'll wait and see is we're only 3 laps into 107 here on this getting started on the Full Velocity Racing Network. You guys have not done so yet. Well, do me a favor, like our links out there, share the links so everybody know that we've got a full stacked house here. Phil's here, Blake's here, Bobby's aboard, Jack's pushing the buttons. I think Todd will be out there in chat shortly. I think he's maybe a little early tonight, so we will have this place covered around the Homestead Miami Speedway and the opening laps. Jordan McGregor leading now Eddie Rayleigh. The first of our championship 4 is that number 113 of Caleb Lingle. He rides third, and you got to think early on, Blake, is he just out there running his race? Is he not worrying about the guys up front? Is he mirror driving? You've got to know where those other 3 drivers around you are racing for a championship, don't you?
Well, you do, but I think he's a little bit worried right now. We've already seen a couple of drivers have some issues and get into the outside wall. Danny Rubino was one of them, getting off of 2 that last time around, and then Jason San Diego right in front of KJ earlier on, just after this restart. He found the outside wall. He actually has heavy damage on the right side of his Dodge. So a couple of these guys running right on the wall, but as you see it, that's a little bit harder than it sounds to kind of ride it right on there and try to find all the speed you can without going over that edge.
And then just an easy track to flirt that edge. As you said, you're up high. seems like upside lane here, the top lane is going to be the place to be all night long as far as the speed goes. But wonder what kind of adjustability these guys being built into their race cars. You know, Blake, you're a guy who's won a lot of races around here, know a lot of things with the Homestead Miami Speedway. This version especially, what can guys do to set their race cars up to make that low side beneficial? Can the low side become beneficial?
Well, a track like this where everybody's struggling on the low side, it typically means that they've taken away a lot of grip from the bottom, or you're going to have a lot of wear in those tires when you go down there. So perhaps we'll see a couple of guys try to make that low side work later in the run. But when you have this high side working, it's all about just carrying as much speed as you can and then using these long straightaways. Everybody staying in the draft on the high side on the straightaways. You probably want to take away some downforce out of these cars because you just want the car to take off down the straightaways.
Looking at the standings as we currently sit, of course, Jordan McGregor leads over Eddie Rayleigh. Caleb Lingle's 113 car making a little race up there for the second spot now as we work our way around. You get Keith McLean in the fourth spot. Herman Reese back there in fifth. I'm looking down the list and I'm finding the likes of Harry Cody Ann back here in eighth. We got KJ Keeler-Jules a part of the championship four. He has driven himself up into the top 10, but he has 4.1 seconds he has to run down. So you got to think, Bobby, if your tire wear becomes a factor here at Homestead, we know KJ almost has a really good long-run car, but he's already got 4.5 seconds to run down between himself and a guy like Caleb Lingle who runs second. At what point does a 29 car have to start pushing that car a little harder than maybe he wasn't? Or is KJ a veteran enough to just let that car ease and let the racetrack and the race fall to him?
Well, I've seen a lot of these races on TV, and I've watched KJ myself, and he seems the type of guy that, can kind of take it semi-easy a little bit and then let the race and let the track come to him and be there. He'll be there at the end of the race.
I got a feeling you're probably right. That's why I asked you that question. I think you even been out there being a fan and doing just a little bit moonlighting here recently and just learning the way of the landscape over here. I think we can figure that out. But early looks around this speedway, Blake, right now, I've been kind of riding along with the number 112 of Eddie Rayleigh. He was up there running in second. That car took a hard beeline to the right in the middle of the corner. May have got the right front tire a little bit hot. It's dropped him back to the fourth spot. You're a guy who knows all about those tire temps, the way these tires wear. Where's that fine line going to sit for these guys? Where is risk versus reward for a guy like Eddie right now running in the fourth spot?
Well, I think the risk, and you see him right there, he's running a little bit lower than most of these guys are. A lot of these guys just running right along the outside wall, and really if you're looking to save your tires here, the way you run the high side is you just want to turn the car about as little as possible to try to keep that right front from being worn. You'll see Rayleigh here, he'll give way to Herman Reese, one of our championship contenders tonight, and let him go on by. But I think Rayleigh probably has a little bit of damage on that right side, but he's also just probably cutting the wheel a little bit too much and wearing out that right front.
I think he is, and you can see him. He's sawing the wheel there off turn number 4. The more you travel back and forth from the wheel, good chance you're heating up that tire a little bit more. But that's why we bring Blake up here. And Blake's the best of the best when it comes to tire wear and strategy and how that all plays in, the way the temps kind of play into it. And guy's so smart. Glad he's a part of this team here. Makes me feel a whole lot smarter on a night like tonight, where tire wear is going to be such a key. Strategy with the wear is going to be such a critical part of what we're going to see here, racing for a championship. And so far, so good for a guy like Caleb Lingle, the number 113, running in that second spot and trails a guy like Jordan McGregor. I can only imagine, Blake, you bring this thing full circle about 360 days away to next year. We finished the year at the ISM Raceway, but just watching and studying the way of one Jordan McGregor has come to fire here. If you're going to make a gamble now for a guy who may be in a Final Four next year here at Hobo, I don't know if you're going to look too much further than that 15. He has shown a ton of talent.
Oh, no doubt about it, Phil. Jordan McGregor, as soon as he's come here, he has showcased his talents and shown that he's not just here to ride around and be a part of this league. He wants to come and win, and obviously we'll look forward to his return next season, because I think he is a guy that could easily find himself competing in this championship 4 with him. But right behind him, Caleb Lingle, doing a good job. He doesn't have to race McGregor, who's in front of him. He's really only worried about Herman Reese, who at the very moment is still about a second and a half behind Caleb Lingle and falling a little bit without some draft. So Lingle sitting in a pretty good spot right now with Reese and Cody Ann kind of in that second pack, but Phil, I'm surprised with KJ. He obviously didn't have the best track position to start, maybe missed on his qualifying setup or just didn't have the lap that he wanted to, but he's running all the way back in ninth and not really running down these leaders.
Oh, in fact, he's lost time. It was about 4.5 seconds about 3 or 4 laps ago. It's well over 5 seconds now, so we'll have to follow the likes of the 029 OKJ. Came in tonight leading the overall points, leads the series and win with, I believe, 8 on the season, and you got to imagine the 029 back there running in a nice spot. I wonder how much panic he's feeling right now. Did talk to me. He's one of the panel of guys I always talk to pre-race before a Tuesday night show, and he said, you know what, car is going to be really good, tires are going to be very critical, but it is going to be so daggone tough to pass. Qualifying may play a big role here tonight, and KJ right now, Bobby, running in the nice spot. I think you and I would take a top 10 run anytime, anywhere, but in KJ's sake, ninth may not be so good, but hey, we get a yellow flag. He can reset that now. They can get 4 fresh tires on it, and maybe the narrative of this race may have just changed a little bit. All right, well, I was going to give that to Bobby, but I think he kind of a little tongue-tied there with the yellow flag out. That's okay. I love giving new guys that want to come do this and see how it all works, feel it all out, stuff like that to figure. But Blake, we're under the first time here tonight. Yellow flag, yellow on lap number 19, brought to you by Hannibal Record Service and our very first BladeNo.com full velocity instant replay. I believe we have found the number 77 of Kevin Roy involved in something. I believe he's going to be the subject of our first instant replay of the evening.
Well, he got the worst end of it, that's for sure. It was, I believe, Danny Rubino. He entered on the low side in 3 and 4, and just with the low grip down there, he gets in a little bit too hot, kicks the rear end around, and then, unfortunately for Kevin Roy, nowhere to go. That motor shuts off on that 77 machine as well as the 44 machine. He'll go ahead and call it a night, and then you have Troy Donahue, who was also caught up in that. Wiley King took a spin as well. So just a little bit of chaos back here in the pack, but a lucky break for some of our championship contenders that were starting to fall off from that top 3. They'll definitely take a little bit of luck here.
Certainly will. So we'll let them get out of the yellow flag. And Bobby, you got to imagine we put 18 laps in, under green. You probably burned off about all the fuel at this point. You're pretty close to it. You probably use up about 2/3 of your tires. Not a bad time to come down and take 4 tires. Do we think anybody that, say like a KJ running back there ninth, is this any time to maybe even possibly consider taking 2, or is it 4 all day long?
I think right now everybody's going for 4. It's with only having our first caution of the night, it's might be a little early to chance some pit strategy by only taking 2 tires, and you don't know when that next caution might come out since we've, had a pretty good green flag run there.
That we absolutely have there for the first opening 18 laps. As I try to get myself all working over here, I've had so many screens all flickering in and out, trying to get my browsers all around and open, and finally can say I finally got myself out there in the YouTube live chat, the Facebook live chat. Welcome you all aboard to the Full Velocity Racing Network. Can't believe I know, Blake, we talked about it, and we took this deal on like a couple of months ago to call it like a lot of the second half of the year, the entire 10-race chase to Homestead here this evening. But much it feels like the grind we've been through with these guys, it's going to be a very surreal end to the evening. When you get down to the final 4 where anything can happen, I know I've had a little juice in my step all day long. Really looking forward. I was really curious to see how this night would kind of play out with 4 really good talented drivers here making up our final 4.
Well, Phil, I think we were talking about it earlier. It's just a great ending to what is a great season, not only for the 4 guys still left in the hunt and with a chance to win a championship here, but just for all these guys to continue to come out here night after night, to have 30 people running out here on a Tuesday night at the last race of the season. You can really make a case. 26 of these guys have nothing to race for. They just love coming out here, racing together. They're a tight-knit community here at Hobo, and I'm telling you what, I was watching a race on Podium Esports, big iRacing. You know what? We have a bigger crowd watching our event tonight than they had watching their Sunday night race. If that doesn't tell you that this community is still alive and well, I don't know what will.
Oh, I absolutely agree. We went through that Saturday night. You guys had Bob Squad racing over the Christmas special there on Saturday night. That was a terrific race. I was the home base at TDR. We were kind of conversing back and forth, and I was telling you, man, we have an awesome race going on over there. No, Bobby was a part of that as well. A great championship run. We could say Matt Watkins defeating Robert Balcom to win the TDR 2019 Premier Cup Series champion. And I'll tell you what, I was presiding over that race. I was watching the BSR broadcast at the same time. This community is alive and well. Racing is some of the top-notch, the best you can find out there right now. And it makes a guy like, Bobby, you're a guy who loves this community just about as much as everybody else does. You're active in it almost 7 nights a week, racing all the time, always have ideas for new stuff to happen. It's got to make you feel good after all this time to see this sim doing as well as it is. It makes me really proud.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this sim, we've been running this since 2003, so, we've been playing this for 16 years now, and still going strong. Like Blake said, you said, we got 30 guys tonight. I've run in other leagues, and, we pull 30 guys a night, and, people still enjoy it. People come out night after night to have this kind of fun.
Absolutely right. We're having fun with you here tonight live with Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch TV, I believe. And I'm telling you what, as I will go around here just looking around under yellow, watching this, the crowd size, the ambience of what's going on, the cars and the stars of Hobo racing. Believe we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing this time. Believe the field working its way off 3 and 4 is trying to hear playing. I'm trying to get a whole bunch of stuff working around, but Blake looks like a restart coming. Jordan McGregor going to resume the race lead with Caleb Lingle, Keith McLean, Herman Reese, and KJ going to be our top 5.
They will, as the pace car will eventually pull on down. We're only in turns 3 and 4 right now, but a big opportunity here. KJ Kilojoules all the way up to 5th, so he's right behind Herman Reese. Caleb Lingle obviously hanging around in 2nd, still has a hold of that spot to clinch a championship this year. But how about Harry Codian taking a little bit of a different approach? He's restarting back in the 21st position, lost a couple of spots. I think he's a guy that maybe he thinks he doesn't have the speed that those other 3 has. He's going to have to try something on strategy. And, of course, we'll see how that plays out as the iRacingIFlag.com green flag displayed once again. We're back underway from Homestead.
Yep, 22 laps now going on the board. Jordan McGregor going to lead a single-file restart down into turn number 1 and 2. Caleb Lingle right there in that 2nd spot. Keith McLean, Herman Reese, KJ Kilojoules, that's 3 of the top 4. And as you said, a guy like Harry Codian, I believe he was one of those coming into pit road on the 1 to go, maybe topping off. And I'll ask you that question, Blake. You're a guy who always has that calculator burning. If Larry Mack ever retires, Blake's a candidate to replace. I'm going to tell you what, but is a guy like Harry running this race in reverse? Is that going to maybe extend and eliminate maybe a potential pit stop by coming in with 1 to go there under that last yellow?
I think he is, but we just have to mention Steve Rubino just made an outstanding save. Don't know how he's quite saved that race car. He was into the wall, a couple guys scattered around him, and just really surprised that we're still under green flag conditions. However, one car is spinning on the back straightaway here in the grass. It has not brought out a yellow. It's 2 of them. It's Bob Gibson and Troy Donahue. However, I think they're going to keep it going straight. We're going to stay under green flag conditions. But, Phil, as you mentioned, Harry Codian, yes, I do think he's going to have to try something different. Maybe he doesn't have the speed that those guys have to go out and just win it outright. He really has nothing to lose in either trying to get off sequence, maybe try to save a little bit of fuel, just do something different. Because, again, you have nothing to lose if you're in his position.
You're absolutely right. I like that call for Harry right there. I said a couple of cars did go around. Maverick was back there with 23. Bob Gibson went for a little bit of a spinny spin back there. Steve Rubino said a big save. A lot of stuff going on here at the Homestead Miami Speedway in the first 25 laps. Only 1 yellow flag slowed, but we're trying to recap what these guys up front are doing, and they're doing some synchronized spinning in the back straightaway, Bobby. Is synchronized spinning... is that as much of a sport as maybe synchronized swimming? Me and Todd go back and forth with this one all the time.
I'd say it's more of a sport. Of course, I'm more of a race fan than a swimming fan. So, I mean, you never want to spin and bring your caution out. But, hey, if you can score points anyway, I'd rather score points spinning than winning.
Oh, we got the spinning part down. I'm not sure how much of the winning we got, but we'll have to take care of that on a Sunday night sometime. We'll have to go over and invade the full throttle Daytona series you got going on up there at TDR. We'll take care of the winning ways, and I know you're doing that a little bit here recently, but I looked down toward pit road, Blake, and I just saw the 21 of Steve Rubino pull his car behind the wall, and that's not a way to end the year for the Rubino family, because we saw Danny having some having some issues there connection-wise. He's out of the event. Now looks like Steve behind the wall. Not the way the Hoboken, New Jersey boys wanted to finish out this season.
No, certainly not. Well, he sustained some damage and probably lit up the tires a little bit, and I guess, it's Homestead. Nothing really to fight for. Maybe he just wanted to pull off and let these guys race at it, but a tough ending for the year for both the Rubino brothers, as you mentioned. They're both out of this thing early. However, I was following along with KJ Kilojoules through those last couple of laps, and he did get into the outside wall in the middle of 3 and 4. Not any visible damage on the right side of his Goodwrench Service Plus Chevrolet, but I think he's definitely going to lose some track position out of that. He fell back to 8th and is now having to kind of collect himself and catch back up to this little pack of Bumbelow, Fugate, and Jeff Stakanis right in front of him.
Absolutely right, and I did get a message here corresponding with KJ under that most recent yellow flag, and he says the car is too loose, and I say loose with about 9 or 10 O's on there. That's not really a good thing. High, wide, and handsome, Bobby. We talked about this off air. We had a good little stable setup you and Brendan had playing out there in practice. But you got guys like KJ. We talked about some of the best out there, the Keith McLeans, Caleb Lingles, even guys like Brandon Hawken we talked about. We saw win a few nights ago on the air open setup. Some of these really fast guys, they can drive these cars so dang loose. I'm not sure how they do it, but for guys like KJ, I guess it goes fast. But even a guy like him, it gets too loose for it. I didn't know that was possible.
Well, the old saying, loose is fast and on the edge you're out of control, but for me, the loose is out of control. I don't know how these guys do it either. There's guys out here that, you can have your car wrecking 3/4 of the way through the turner and they're still coming out faster than we are.
Oh, they're wrecking.
Oh, we got one around. Ricky Bumbelow's right on the back straightaway, Blake.
Bumbelow spinning wildly through the inside grass. Heavy nose damage on that 85 machine. Fugate is involved in it as well. The Sundrop Dodge slowly crawling his way off into turns 3 and 4, but major damage on that 85 machine. He may as well be done with that thing. And this started right around that 029 Chevrolet, so big bullet dodge for KJ Kilojoules as the two cars in front of him. Big trouble here on the back straightaway.
Yeah, sure was. 85 car went around in a knot right there, putting us under yellow flag for the second time tonight. That's going to allow maybe these guys to maybe get a little bit off sequence. We'll see what these guys do as far as strategy is coming onto pit road. You got to imagine they're going to put fuel in it. Are we going to take 2 tires, 4 tires, no tires? I guess we'll have to wait and see. We're under yellow for the second time tonight. We'll pause for the calls. We'll take a drink. We'll reset, recap. We'll be right back with you live with the call on the Restart on your source for esports racing.
Muted. Where? Looks good on my end.
Hi, I'm Brendan Spadafora, host of Full Throttle with the Gent and driver of the number 37 Two Guns Films Ford Mustang in the Hobo Racing League. You're watching Full Velocity Racing Network here on YouTube, your number one source for esports racing.
And so is Phil.
We don't have to win tonight to still have a good game. We're playing shit. Show up, right? Yeah, we showed up against Carolina. Sounds like. If we had shot the 3-ball, or if anything, we actually had a chance to win that damn game. I was on their Twitch page Sunday night. They had their little series, and they had 11 people watching on Twitch. Now they may have had more on Facebook or something like that, but I don't think they did. I don't think they did. Their post-series broadcast probably get a lot of viewers, but that's about it.
Well, we're learning how to do stuff to bagel reviews. Not sure what we had for view count last night, but I know we had a decent night with it. But we had VLR on. We've got a rival company putting on lots of videos. We've been able to run on it now. They've got us. We're going to figure out how to win the rating. We know people. When you see all these ridiculous watch parties show up there, that'll be why. Now all of a sudden it's a game of fucking fake your rating.
Yeah.
Lights are out.
They are in town. Anybody do anything different? Not really. Let's look and see. Duke Tango his way out of the place. Maverick had connection issues 3 laps down. Donnie starts wrecked. Yeah, there's a whole lot of nothing going on here.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, they pushed the button. They're ready to go back to green flag racing. I mean, I guess it's time for us to start talking again as we do a lot of this off air. And I'm glad sometimes you don't hear the stuff that goes on off air here because, I don't know. I know Blake's kind of half, twitched it out one of these days. And, you hear what goes on off the air here at the network. And it'd probably blow your mind sometimes as the weird directions these shows go in. But, hey, having a great time. Hope you are as well as we get ready to rock and roll. Back under the green flag, 36 laps in. Jordan McGregor leads. Caleb Lingle, Keith McLean, Herman Reach, Jeff Stakanis, your current top 5 with KJ Kilojoules now up to 6. Rich Nappick, Harry Codienne going to restart 8th. Brendan Spadafora and Jason San Diego going to be our top 10 as we are back to it. Green flag waiting. That's a long wait. There it is. Green flag goes back in the air. Let's go back to racing here, Blake, on lap 36.
Patient flag man there, but it's allowed these guys up front to really get a good jump as they sail it down into turns 1 and 2. Caleb Lingle still hanging tough in second, not looking to make a move for the lead, but Herman Reese, and how about KJ Kilojoules, just talking about him and where he was running in the pack, now with the chance to rebound and run right up on Herman Reese, who sits second right now in the standings.
Sure does. That's a good race there through the corner as Reese now one car up, dividing the two of them. That's the 31 car of Jeff Stakanis, who rides up high. We had a couple of cars, though, way loose off of turn number 2, and now they're back to the front straightaway here, down to the turn number 3 and 4, and wow, who was that there loose? That looked like it was that Keith McLean's car, all on the edge of out of control. The Tesco Haviland Ford was stepped out high, wide, and handsome. He's still got a handful, gripping on that steering wheel, Blake, heading to turn 3.
He certainly is. A lot of these guys clutching their wheels after making these adjustments. One guy, Harry Codienne, he's in trouble in turn 4. Codienne gets spun around after getting loose, and Phil, unfortunately, looks like major damage on that 13 Chevrolet. We were just talking about it. He was wheeling that thing through 3 and 4, got the back end stepping out just a little bit, and unfortunately got tagged before he could save that race car, and that is the last thing that Harry Codienne needed because of just how much he was climbing up there. He was running in the 9th position, and he just looks like it was Brendan Spadafora who got into the back of him there. And unfortunately, when Codienne stepped out, there's just not much Spadafora could do, but real unfortunate break for that 13 team.
It really really is. That's not a way you want to have it here on championship night. 39 laps and not even halfway home, and now looks like there's some catastrophic damage to the back end. The nose of the 13 all kind of tore up. That's going to hurt the balance of that race car as we work our way on now. 39 laps on the board of 107. So I think it's safe to say, I believe everybody kind of has their cars kind of felt out right now. You know you get a good car. You know your car is a little bit off. Is this the time now, Bobby, approaching halfway for, we say you talk about guys like Harry now with damage, but looking back to say guys outside the top 10, like Eddie Rayleigh, who was up front early, is it time for those guys to come down pit road, maybe throw a big adjustment at it to maybe try to find some speed for the second half?
I think so. I mean, they're running pretty much same lineup we've done for most of the race. I think these guys are going to start throwing the wrenches at it, maybe even the kitchen sink in the back of the field, and see if they can't make some adjustments and maybe make a run to the front of the field here.
Oh, I have to wait and see as they're all on, probably going to head back down pit road, possibly under the yellow flag, only a quick cycle around on the stop, and, guys like Jordan McGregor up front, Caleb Lingo, Herman Reese, Keith McLean, Jeff Stakanis, a guy like KJ now, Blake, who's fought his way back into the legs, so top 10, race car balance maybe coming in. What is he a guy who may kind of go off sequence and maybe pit this time for the fresher tires, or are we good at this rate? Is track position going to be too much that you don't want to give up right now?
I think right now what you're probably thinking is you want to keep the track position. Obviously, these guys can run anywhere between 32 and 34 laps on fuel, so if you're thinking about fuel and thinking about that long run to the end of the race, you would want to pit right now. But one thing about these tracks where you have a lot of grip up top and not so much grip on the bottom is that these restarts are killer. Cold tires make it really, really difficult to try and restart on the bottom. So anybody that gets down low these next couple of laps, that's what these tracks usually do. If you have low grip on the bottom side, these restarts tend to breed more restarts. So if I'm KJ or any of our championship guys, I'm just looking to try to smooth sail it and try to keep my track position for now. Obviously, Cody Ann, he's in a different position because he was involved in that last caution. So even though he has a little bit of damage, I think he has to keep doing what he was doing earlier, do the opposite of what our leaders are trying to do.
Absolutely right. And I'm just having a little side conversation here. I know Bobby does too. I got the Jen Brendan's number 37 off air, and he felt like crap there for Harry being loose. And I think, Bobby, we've been in this situation more times than not where a good fast car like Harry's car gets loose in front of us. One of us guys, let's face it, half the time we're back markers or mid-pack if we're lucky in a good night. If we're in Brendan's shoes, I know he feels really bad for it. And what could he have done different there? I mean, I don't know. I know the best we could do is, and I'm sorry to Harry that, your car is all wrecked up, but I know we feel terrible for a guy like that. We've been in Brendan's shoes more times than I think anybody understands.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to feel bad for the guy, especially, a night like tonight when he's one of the championship contenders. But at the same time, I mean, Brendan had no place to go there. Harry got loose in front of him, and I mean, Brendan could have maybe hit the brakes a little bit harder, but then you take a chance of spinning yourself out at the same time and maybe wrecking the back end of your car, and then your night's done for.
Absolutely right. He does feel really bad about it. I'll tell you what, but, trying to recompose himself and try to keep the 37 car rolling. The Jet doing a great job. No, Jet Nation is always out there on YouTube. They like us so much that they even hire the vice president of the Jet Nation to come up here and do some commentary with us. Our good buddy Bobby Farrell joining us. Blake McCandless back here alongside as well. 42 laps in now. You think about it. We've had a nice little green flag run early for 18 laps. We've been slowed by some yellow flags. We've seen some covers, some goers. A guy like Cody Inn's car is all wrecked out. Guys like KJ, whose car may have been off a little early, got back into the top 5. We know Caleb Lincoln and Herman Reese, they've been consistent up in the top 3 all evening long. What kind of things can we predict through the middle portion of this race with now 42 laps on the board?
I just think it depends on if we're going to get those long runs that we were talking about. If we can get a run like we did at the beginning of the race, 20, 25 laps, I think that's where we're really going to see some separation here. See if Caleb Lingle, Reese, or KJ can really kind of make a statement and show that they're the car to beat tonight. But otherwise, we're just going to have to hope that we get that run, because otherwise these cold tires going to keep bringing out this yellow flag.
Yeah, and I heard Blake have preached this for years and years. Cold tires, guys. You got to let some heat get in these things. Don't goose them too soon, or you spend more time behind that pace car. As cool as that Chevrolet Corvette is, well, I don't want to see it anymore. Let's go back under the iRacing I flag. Green flag, it rolls back in the air on lap number 43. And Jordan McGregor, as he has done all night long, he'll lead the field off of turn number 2. We'll see if these guys can maybe eke themselves out. It's going to take probably a good, half a lap, 2 laps. At what point, Blake, in a setup like this, a track like this, does the tires finally start coming back in where you can go back to maybe driving your car the way it should be, versus, straddling that fine line of keeping it under control while the tires get warm?
It's really just about a lap that you just need to go through 1 and 2, 3 and 4, one time clean. Anticipate the looseness a little bit, just try and get through those corners. And then obviously now, I was even following KJ that time, and he was having some trouble with it, and I think some other guys are too, as the yellow flag comes back out once again. One car is parked up high along the outside retaining wall in 1 and 2, and major damage on that race car. It's the 22 Dodge of Jason San Diego, and oh boy, he has pretty much no rear end left on that car. Not sure if he got some help or not. We'll have to look at the BladeNode.com replay. But San Diego already struggling with the handling of that race car. I don't think the damage he just sustained is going to help with that.
Well, I don't think so either. There was no rear end already on the back of a 22, but it may have been a selfie. Went down on the turn that, not quite aerodynamically sound rear end of that Dodge. Not look like it's sitting in the track too well. Comes off the corner, and he just kind of takes a yeet on him and goes around all by himself. So the selfie stick is out. Jason San Diego, you get the full velocity selfie stick for the night. Wanted the TV time, not the way you want it, but we say, hey, from all of us here at the Full Velocity Racing Network. 22 car up in the outside wall. He's going to keep going, though. He pulls it off the wall. The back end damage already there, all tore up. I guess, as they would say, last race of the season, nothing to hold back now. Now, there's it there, Bobby.
Now, like you said, last race of the season, it's go time now. I mean, season's over after this. It's,
checkers or wreckers.
Have a good race and finish out the season strong and get ready for 2020.
That's right. Checkers or wreckers, steering wheel or trophy. You're bringing something back in that 22 car, no worse for the wearers. We've got a very busy congregation down on pit road right now. How about that big word out there tonight? As I'm looking, and I believe I seen, was it 113, one of the lights of the drivers I didn't see peel off and down pit road? And no, he did not, but I believe some of the other race leaders, Jordan McGregor, the race leader, Blake, he has decided, he didn't come in either.
No.
I saw somebody on pit road that was up front. Who the heck am I missing?
I'm not sure, Phil. Most of these guys elected to stay out because, again, I just think track position with how difficult it is to pass that Bobby saw in practice, and a lot of these guys are seeing right now. It's just so difficult to make your way around people. And I'm looking through pit road. We saw guys like Ron Simpson, Pushrod, made his way onto pit road. The John Deere Chevrolet of Maverick made his trip down to his crew as well. Harry Codian, one of our championship contenders, was. But otherwise, I think most of these guys up front, they're not willing to take the risk to step on back there with the issues these guys are having with these loose race cars.
It really is, as we parade around under yellow, approaching halfway, 46 laps in. I believe nobody really up front. I thought I saw somebody in the ranks of the top 10 come into pit, but I guess I did not. What do I know? We'll go back. We'll take a drink of water. We'll compare some notes here. We'll see what's going on. We'll come back to you live in your source of esports racing, preparing for a restart. 46 laps in from the Homestead Miami Speedway.
I ain't muting you. Keep talking.
It really is, as we parade around under yellow, approaching halfway, 46 laps in. I believe nobody.
I ain't muting you. Keep talking. My mic open?
It
Yep.
really is, as we parade around under yellow, approaching halfway, 46 laps in. I believe nobody.
I ain't muting you. Keep talking. Yes. My mic open?
It really is, as we parade around under yellow, All right, well, I guess the mic's come back hot. Is Jack's mic finally, I guess, turned off? His mic's been hot all night long. So you've been hearing Jack Jewin doing one of the best jobs you can do directing here at a race broadcast. Guy has learned so much these last couple of months and is really taken to what a really hard program to run here doing NR 2003 control. So we appreciate all his hard work. And, Joel was out there letting us know, hey, Jack's mic is hot. And one of the many things, at least you hit the 9 button at some point and start the stream or kill the stream early. So far, so good. Hope we don't jinx him here tonight. But we get ready to go back to racing. 48 laps in a 107. We approach halfway. Jordan McGregor going to lead. Caleb Lingle, Herman Reese, Keith McLean, Jeff Stakanis. That is going to be the top 5 as we are in the front straightaway. Green flag back in the air, and we'll go marching back down toward turn number 1.
Marching towards turn 1, and I don't think we're going to see any changes as of yet. Just try to get through these first few corners on these cold tires. KJ, though, he's going to try to make a move to the high side of Stakanis. He'll have a little bit of a run, but he'll stall back out, check up, and just fall in line. Again, these guys up here just hoping that we can get that long run so they can showcase whether these guys have long run speed or not. And I think just with how difficult it is to pass, you're going to see a lot of these guys just fall in line for the first couple laps.
It would not be a bad time if these guys have been studying here to early on, the first half of this race, 50 laps now on the board. Be a good time to go out there and just kind of ease into these race cars, let them kind of ride, and let's see who the comers and goers are going to be. I am itching for a long green flag run. If we're going to have a championship race, we're going to have a scenario play out. I don't want to see us pace around and dash it out all night long here to the finish. I want to get this race stretched out. Let's get under green. Let's see whose car is better, but I guess it's not going to be now because we have another yellow flag on the speedway. I believe this is a 6th yellow flag of the night now on lap number 51, so we had a lot of promise early through a 18-lap run to start the evening. We slow it back down. Yellow returns to the speedway, and I'm not sure what we found here, Blake. But it looks like Eddie Rayleigh, the 112, is going to be the full velocity instant replay presented by BladeNode.com.
Yes, Phil. One of the things that happens when you're running right up against the outside wall here in NR 2003, if you get to where you don't hit the wall, but you're just kind of straddling the very edge of it, it almost becomes impossibly loose up there. Some of these tracks will have rumble strips up there to replicate what marbles typically feel like on a real racetrack, but with that combined and just the wall kind of sucks you around, there was really nothing Rayleigh could have done. He sails it in the corner, gets it in a little bit too deep, and just kind of gets stuck on that outside wall. And you think you hear it, oh, well, he got stuck in the outside wall. I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something about it when you put your door right on it here in NR 2003. It just somehow whips it around with really nothing you can do to control it. And unfortunately, that's what happened for Rayleigh there. And tough for that U.S. Army Chevrolet, who really showed some promise, started on the front row outside of Jordan McGregor, but since then, it's just been tough sledding for that 112 car.
He has the whole time as he gallows it back in now. Going to come down pit road, put 4 tires on it. It looks like all the leaders have now decided to come on the pit road. I see KJ's down there, McGregor, Caleb Lingle, Harry Cody, and all the drivers up in the lead 10, all onto pit road, all taking 4 tires, and we launched the race off of pit road. Yeah, I guess we still kind of do that from time to time. Race off pit road. Believe was it Caleb Lingle? Well, Jordan McGregor. Jordan McGregor wins the race off the pit lane, so he's going to maintain the race lead. Caleb Lingle second off the pit road. Herman Reese, Keith McLean, Jeff Stakanis. And just as they came in, they'll exit, so the top 5 will stay stable. 52 laps in. We'll pause here under the yellow. We'll rip some green flag racing here live from the Homestead Miami Speedway. Don't go anywhere. Let's do the green flag run you say up next. We're pulling for it. All right, back here live inside the Homestead Miami Speedway, and I look out there getting ready for a restart, and it looks like the complexion of what it looks like maybe the top 5 has changed, because I see the number 17, Neil Pushrod, Bob Becker up there leading the field of Ron Simpson, Jordan McGregor, Caleb Lingle. Now Ricky Bumbalo going to restart 5th. That's a new wrinkle for a top 5. That's some different strategies being played up there, Blake. How do you feel up there now? If you're Caleb Lingle, knowing you got some guys, maybe off sequence, are you walking on eggshells with a championship run potentially in your lap here?
Well, Phil, I think it's mostly the unknowns. You haven't run around these guys, so you just don't know what they are. Maybe they've just been in traffic and they have fast cars. Maybe they're going to be struggling with the handling here on these colder tires, especially since they didn't pit. But nevertheless, we'll have to see. The green flag is in the air, and they'll hold it steady through 1 and 2. We know how difficult it is to pass. Are these guys going to kind of create a logjam here at the front of the pack? We'll have to wait and see.
So far, they're in perfect sync like a drum corps as we work off turn number 2. And so far, Bob Becker, the old pushrod, holding on to the lead. Ron Simpson there, waiting for the 15 of Jordan McGregor, who has been the fastest car here in Miami all night long. A South Beach party, maybe await that 15 car in victory lane. He rides third, but look at that 17 doing a great job there. Maybe a little bit lesser tire, some strategy at the front. Well, pushrod now, Ron Simpson making the move. 25 car up to the race lead. I'm liking seeing new names up front. That's kind of really, adjusted the standings, if you will.
That Simpson Finch Chevrolet riding pretty out there in clean air, and I think you said it, riding in line like a drum corps. That's a great line.
That was for you, buddy.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great little saying right there, and I think this just shows you how hard it is to pass. Jordan McGregor has been up front all night long, and there's really nothing he can do. He's trying to run a lot higher than these guys are, get a little bit of a run off, but he just kind of stalls out on the straightaway. Not that time, though. They'll hit the wall almost into the back rear of it. Now Caleb Lingle, he'll look to the low side as they enter turn 3.
And Caleb Lingle going to make a big move now. Almost 3, almost 4 wide off the corner. That's not going to work here in South Beach, is it? As Simpson's 25 car gets partly under the wall. They're making more contact off the corner. The 15 of McGregor put up to the outside wall off the fender. I believe was at the 17th.
Oh, McGregor's in it!
Big wreck!
McGregor is in it. Keith McLean is involved. Another car spinning wildly here. The big one at Homestead is 10, 12, 13 cars, I believe, scattered all through turns 1 and 2, and it all started with Herman Reese and Jordan McGregor contact in the middle of turn 1. And oh boy, Phil, it's a parking lot here in Homestead, Miami.
Well, I guess they all heard a party was coming here, and I think maybe they want to start. It's a little early, guys. The drinks are on ice. The girls are down on the beach already waiting for us. If you want to get there early, well, you get to the parking lot now, you jump out of the race car. Not the way you want to do it for a guy like, say, a Jordan McGregor, Gary Morin's car all tore up. Looks like his car is absolutely destroyed. You got McLean also in the mix. It happened also right around the legs of Herman Reese, the 29 of KJ. Championship contenders all around it. They got through it somehow, some way, but you got to imagine the heart rate went up a little bit. I know, Bobby, we've been around these wrecks a time or two. Lucky right there getting through. I know Brendan got through. I said I saw KJ go through it. I mean, your heart's going to be in your throat skimming around the carnage through there.
Oh, definitely. You see cars around you spinning in front of you, and you're in the middle of a turn, and you don't know which way to go, which way they're going to go. Chances are these guys might need a new pair of underwear when this race is over. Some of them might have, charred themselves.
So it's funny right there. That's really good. Really good.
Phil, I'm going to cut you off right there. There was one guy that might have, and that was KJ. I don't know if we can get a view of what happened in front of him through that wreck, but the view he had as people were passing him, wrecking in front of him, wrecking behind him, and boy, he had an incredible view of that accident and did a marvelous job navigating his way through to where he went completely unscathed.
Well, so far the car, maybe not the cleanest, but it's still out there running his KJ's number 029. He is all good, but a couple of cars not so good. There is Rich Knapik's number 6. He got tore up in that thing. Jordan McGregor's number 15. The pole sitter led a lot of this race early. Restarted third. He's now behind the wall. Night going to be done there, as is the Wiley King, number 95. So we talked about it, Blake, early on. Well, 30-car field at Homestead, cold tires. wrecking a couple of race cars. You almost hate to use the term thinning the herd in sim racing, but we got another case here in point tonight. 60 laps in, 30-car field started. We're going to have a little less than about 16 or 17 cars left on the racetrack. I guess if there's a way you talk about thinning the herd in sim racing, I guess this is it, but not always the way we want to get here.
No, certainly not. We want to see all of these guys race their way home. Luckily, all of our championship contenders, despite a little bit of trouble from Cody Ann, still in this thing. So I guess it's good we're increasing the opportunity they have to race this last portion of the race out under green flag conditions, but just a really tough sledding for a lot of these guys as we started with about a 20-lap green flag run, but since then it's just been really difficult for these guys. We'll go ahead and recap these guys that have decided to go ahead and pull it behind the wall. Wiley King, he'll bring it home 20th. I think he'll continue to slide down the order, though. Jordan McGregor out of this thing after leading so much. He's decided to call it a night. Gary Morin is behind the wall. Rich Napick. Troy Donahue, I believe he's 3 laps down, but he is still in this thing. Jason San Diego retired. Duke Sorensen is out. Both the Rubino brothers, Kevin Roy, Manny Diaz. So a lot of chaos here earlier on. We've cut out roughly half this field just past halfway.
Sure have. We've cut a half a race car out. We've cut a half a voice out, and we're going to take a sip of the water here. We'll reprogram what's happening under the yellow flag. I believe all the leaders have decided to come on or stay on the racetrack, so we'll let you ride around and enjoy the sights and sounds under yellow here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Ham and beans. That's all I'm going to say. Ham and beans. Not a good deal for a Tuesday night, but hey, ready to rock and roll here. Yellow lights are out around the speedway. The pace car lights are extinguished, and here on lap number 62, we're getting prepared to go back to some green flag racing. Caleb Lingo leads, a points contender over Herman Reese right there behind Jeff Stakanis. Jeff Fugay and Brendan Spadafora, the 37 car, has survived himself up into the top 5. Well, Ralph Pauly now running in the 6th position. Ricky Bumbelow 7th. Pushrod now running in 8th. Harry Cody in has rebounded. We forget about Harry. He's out there with a chance for a championship. He runs 9th, and running out the top 10 will be Eddie Rayleigh aboard car number 112 as we got the pace car in, the green flag in hand and now unfurled. Let's go back to racing here at Homestead.
Let's, Phil, as we look ahead to the lead for the race and the championship right now. It is with Caleb Lingle. He's been running in the top 3 all night long, but no longer has to worry about Jordan McGregor. He just has Herman Reese, another championship contender, in that Cadillac holding strong right behind him. And we mentioned it at the top of the show. Herman Reese, a guy who was very, very confident coming into tonight. So let's see if we can't get that long green flag run. Don't want to jinx it, but I think if we can really get some laps under these guys, we'll see who's ready to win a championship tonight.
We're going to wait and see. Is now working on lap number 64. Hopefully, I've been praying for a long green flag run because I want to see how this race plays out because nobody wants start, stop all night long, especially on a championship night. Saw a terrific race last night. You joined us here on Full Velocity. We did a 60-lap all green flag run here at the VLR, the Dirt Series race they had this last evening. Took 71 laps of total racing to give us 60 green flag laps. It was really a great race. Love when they get stretched out. Allow us to go around and talk about some of the comers and goers through the field. Take a look at some good racing going on back to the racetrack. So now 65 laps in, 2/3 the way home. Caleb Lingo leads over Herman Reese. Jeff Stakanis, Jeff Fugate, the bright green number 9 car up in the top 5. Brendan Spadafora there running in 6th. I'm looking back here to the likes of KJ Kilojoules, who Reach started 11th, and he is not 11th no more. That 29 is starting to come his way through traffic. He's racing is that Pushrod up ahead, racing for the 8th spot now off of turn 2.
Well, he's racing with Pushrod right there, and he'll make his way along the outside. Oh, almost contact there on the back straightaway. It looks like AJ, they're going to maintain that position on the outside, and he'll easily work his way by that 17 car. But he also has Cody Ann right behind him. And I'll give a shout-out to Cody Ann. Had some damage on that 13. You can see it a little bit on the side and the rear end of the race car. But Cody Ann doing a nice job here, rebounding and trying to keep pace with these guys. He's running right around the lap times that KJ is, so if he can just keep up, he won't be out of this thing yet. So kind of a split between our championship 4, Lingle and Reese up at the front of the field, and then you have KJ and Cody Ann up here running in 7th and 9th respectively.
They really are, and you've got those guys starting to work their way around the traffic as well as watching KJ kind of work his way around now. Harry Cody Ann following suit, but they made a pass on Pushrod. Also, Brendan up there sliding around the number 37. Ralph Pauly is up there in the 61. But these two up front, Blake, Caleb Lingo and Herman Reese, they lead the championship standings as we speak. If you're going to win a trophy here at Homestead, I don't think you want to do it by finishing second to a non-points contender. There's going to be something special about not only winning the race, but grabbing the championship as the race winner. Caleb Lingo looking to do just that as he leads the field down the front stretch.
I mean, there was kind of something special here as I was just riding along with KJ. He kind of got squeezed into the wall there by Brendan Spadafora. Spadafora just kind of cut him off there. KJ had a nose on the outside of it, and Spadafora said, "I'll take that, please." So KJ going to try to make that move by the 37 on the low side this time. We'll see if he can get it done. Spadafora, he'll get all the way into the wall, trying to give him some room there. Oh, man, and he's stuck in that wall. It's going to take him a lot of time to get back up to speed. Kept it green, though, kept it straight, but, I mean, what? He went from 6th all the way back to 12th in one corner. But so KJ, obviously, he's marched his way up into that 6th spot. What were you talking about before that, Phil?
Something about that. I'm not exactly sure. We had a lot of different side conversations going on over here, but that wall glue just reached out and grabbed old Brendan right there. Bobby, you're a teammate to that guy out there in that 37. You know a little bit of something about that wall glue now, don't we?
Oh, yeah. I've been a victim of that wall glue one too many times, just like Brendan had there. And, you know, like he did, you get in that wall and there's no getting off of it quick. You're going backwards quickly.
Well, you went backwards quickly. Now, somebody got turned around the wrong way because we have a yellow flag back on the racetrack. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Greet us on lap number 71, and we spin it around, and I believe 25 car of Ron Simpson went around, and I'm not sure where that kind of all started from. I see a lot of smoke. Jack will go back and give us a look at theblado.com full velocity instant replay. Blake, you also got a quick look on it. You're going to get to it before I do.
Well, these guys were back here battling for the 10th spot. Ron Simpson was on the bottom side, and this really tells you how important the draft here is down the straightaway. Simpson's trying to look at Bob Gibson here up on his outside and get right in that draft as soon as he can. And so as soon as Gibson clears him, he wants that draft on the nose of that 25 car. But, man, does he miss times it. It looks not blatant, but just really bad here. As Simpson, he hits that inside wall so hard with his right door, it flattens his right front and right rear tires. So he had to limp that thing around and has decided since to pull it behind the wall. Heavy damage there. And, Phil, I look at the scoring pylon. I've never in my life seen suspension as a reason that someone has retired from a race here in NR, but I guess I've finally seen it all. As Ron Simpson, there's a little SUSP that dignifies suspension as the reason that he pulled off the track. I've never seen that before.
I have never, in 13 years of playing this game now, have ever seen suspension for a reason to be out. Now, hold on. Let's take this out to the working crowd out there. Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch TV. Is that suspension like the race car broke, or did he just get a slap on the wrist and say, Suspension, not detention, suspension. It's a new one to work on there. I'll let you folks chew on that here under the yellow flag. We'll go silent here under the break, but suspension. Let's think about that for a minute. All right, back here live inside the Homestead Miami Speedway, partying it up down here tonight in South Beach and ready to turn this sucker loose. 74 laps on the board. Get ready to rock and roll here. And we recap up front the race leader and current championship contender Caleb Lingle leading over Herman Reese. Jeff Stakanis running in third. Jeff Fugate fourth. Now Ralph Pauly's number 61 car. Ralph up at the top five. KJ Kilojoules sits in position number sixth. We got Eddie Rayleigh running in seventh. Pushrod will restart eighth. Brett Carter in ninth. And Maverick going to round out our top 10. A scenario down from pit road. A Harry Cody at number 13. He'll restart about 16th. He topped off at one to go. Blake, as we go back to green, we were just talking to the yellow. We're right in that window right now where that may have been the last time potentially for fuel year down on pit road.
Oh, I love this call by Cody Ann. Lost a little bit of speed because of that damage, but also we are really, really close to that fuel window. And you have to think with how these guys are kind of ripping it here. Oh, Cody Ann's going to spin here in the back. He gets into the outside retaining wall. He was clutching, and if there's one thing about clutching, it can certainly upset the handling of a race car. And unfortunately for Cody Ann, he whips it around here in the back, so any type of strategy that he was looking to take advantage of by clutching going to be all null and void now as the caution flag displayed once again. So tough luck there for Cody Ann. We were just going to talk about it is so hard to save fuel here because you're having to rip it on the top side. You carry a lot of speed, so you're in the throttle a lot. Would have been really nice for Cody Ann there to try to keep it steady and see if he couldn't be the one that emerged here from what was looking like a fuel mileage race, but not looking that way now.
No, it was hovering really close. You got to think the guys up front were probably going to be just as close as well. And now under the yellow flag allows them to clutch under the yellow. And for a guy like myself who's never, ever been able to save a whole lot of fuel to figure out exactly the game of how you guys make this happen, I'm up here. I'm listening to the 113. I'm listening to the 37. I'm listening to 73, the 31. They're all clutching. How much can you realistically save here, Blake, under these yellow flags in a place like Homestead? Can you gain 2 laps just under yellow?
I mean, if you're riding around in 4th gear and you think about it, you're pretty much, getting in the gas for maybe a split second and then clutching and coasting for several hundred feet and doing that repeated over and over again and again. So probably 2 laps of yellow. Yeah, you're probably going to save close to 2 laps of fuel just because you're barely in the gas under the yellow flag. So it's very easy to save under yellow, but just with the way this track is set up where you're having to run along the high side, so you're going a further distance, you're in the gas a lot, and you can't really afford to lift because if you do, you slow down so much. So this would have been a really, really difficult place for these guys to make it on fuel if we stayed green. But under yellow, they have a chance.
Well, they definitely will have a chance here working the yellow flag. 77 laps in. Blake, you give us that great, lesson there about clutching, how to do it, what to do. Bobby, you got the notebook open? You just kind of gave away a little bit something we can learn. We're always learning, aren't we?
Always
Actually,
trying
Phil,
to.
I think you might be learning because I've known that for a while. Of course, I'm not I don't clutch much or try and save fuel at tracks like these, but you have other tracks like super speedways where, saving fuel's at a premium. I've pretty much figured it out.
I'm sinking, Blake. I'm telling you, you're telling me something Bobby already knows. I mean, when did Bob? There was a time I was okay at doing this thing as a racer. Bobby is, far surpassed me now. Is this stuff that I should have known for a long time? Am I just completely a lost cause forever?
Nobody's ever a lost cause forever, Phil, but, it's just something you get from a lot of experience and just trying to find every little opportunity and advantage you can. But I think it's time we give a full race rundown here just because of how kind of strung out we've gotten and just want to recap everything that's happened tonight. Obviously, Caleb Lingle is up front. Herman Reese, another championship contender, in second here on lap 78. Third is Jeff Stakanis having a great run in that Mopar Dodge. He is. The Sundrop Dodge right behind him is fourth. That's Fugate. Fifth is Ralph Pauly. Sixth is KJ Kilojoules. Seventh, Eddie Rayleigh. 18th, Pushrod 17. Ninth is Maverick, and then rounding out the top 10 is Ricky Bumbalo. 11th, Bob Gibson. 12th, Brendan Spadafora. 13th, Keith McLean. 14th, Harry Cody Ann. 15th, Steve Grant. 16th, Brett Carter. 17th, Randy Smith. And that completes the drivers that are on the lead lap. Troy Donahue is 2 laps down, running in 18th. But aside from that, we recapped earlier how many guys are already out of this thing, including Ron Simpson, who, again, suspension, the reason that he's out of this race. But it stinks, Phil. We had such a good race going, and ever since probably those first 20 laps or so, it's just been really difficult to get anything going. I'd love to see these guys race it out here at the end, especially with all of our championship contenders kind of emerging towards the front of the field.
You got that right. I want to see a run to the end here. I just hate it. I know as an announcer I say it a lot, but even as a racer, Bobby, if you're out there strapped in one of your 41 cars you were in practice, these yellow flag laps just kind of kill you, aren't they? You're out there practicing on gearing up, winning these cars a set. The last thing you want to do is out there and go pace around 75 laps under yellow. Isn't that right?
Well, to be honest with you, for somebody like myself who, most of the time runs in the back, doesn't have a chance up front, sometimes cautions help you, but for these fast guys that have been running up front all night, they're going to want to see a green flag. They don't want to be sitting around, riding around under caution. They want to get some racing in.
I'll tell you what, and you're a guy who's done this before. We kind of know. You're logged in tonight in the race server. You can drive. You were out there practice turning laps. You can jump into your car right now if you wanted to with 30 to go. You could put yourself in maybe potentially a top 20 finish. That's not a bad idea, is it?
Not at all. You know me. I've done it before. Sometimes you got to instead of a start and park, it's a park and start where you might be a little late, miss driver's meeting, but get out there and run some laps. With the attrition going on, you might be able to pick up a few spots and at least have a, like you said, top 20 day and not have a bad night for yourself.
Well, I'll tell you what, and as a guy who Saturday night, wrecked two completely different cars and had my name in the standings twice, never a bad idea. We'll leave that for another day. I know Jack going to really throw the book at me for that one, but hey, what the heck. We go back to racing here. Lap number 80, the green flag comes back to the air. 27 laps to go, and Caleb Lingle has a date with destiny. He leads the field off turn number 2, but don't look, because Herman Reese is 73. The caddy is there. We talked to him last week, Blake. He said redemption. He had one taken from him last year here at Homestead. Herman Reese is determined tonight. It is his championship to win. The other thing standing in his way right now, a very fast number 113 Ford up front.
You're certainly right, Phil. Herman, as we've mentioned time and time again, very confident of the setup that he has under that Cadillac tonight, and just hoping that he can go up there and showcase with Caleb Lingle. Hasn't necessarily been around that 113 all night long, but has been towards the front and in a position where they could just put some green flag laps down. He could have a chance to go and run it with these guys. And obviously Herman Reese trying to do just that right now, not letting Caleb Lingle get away as they get off the corner and approach the stripe. 26 laps to go, and those laps are going to start ticking down quickly. So Reese just looking to keep the track position, try to save those tires, see if he can't go try to make a run at Lingle the last couple of laps.
Have to wait and see as they're over now, off into turn number 3 and 4. Lingle leading by those two car legs over Herman Reese. They're all glued up high. As we've talked all night long, this racetrack favors really a high line dominant race. Canis back there running in the 3rd spot. Jeff Fugate 4th. And that yellow and black car, that KJ number 29, he has found himself into the top 5. He's been fighting an ill-handling race car all night long. He's been on pit road a couple of times. A guy like that also running for a championship. He sees two guys up ahead of him who are not in the picture. 9 and the 31, you look up ahead, you see the 73 car, you see the 113 leading. At what point, Blake, for KJ, is it go time where I have to pick my way through these two guys in front of me? I got to compete with those two guys up ahead leading the field for his championship.
I think you got to go now. We've seen how important track position is, how these yellows have come out, and you just got to get track position while you can. So if I'm KJ, I'm probably not necessarily thinking about how can I save my tires to eventually get around Caleb Lingle. I'm just thinking, can I get to 3rd now, maybe catch a yellow, and then worry about outrunning those guys? But I'm not one to play patient here with just how this race has been going recently.
A guy like Blake not playing patient. Blake's one of the more patient guys I've seen on the racetrack. I would think drives the car really hard, but knows how to take care of it. So we'll have to see what the 29 does as he is out there right now. With that 31 in the 9 car, I've been noticing, Bobby, through these corners is a track that's been really top lane dominant. The 31 in the 9, they've been running more of that middle groove. You got to think that's going to be abusing a little bit more of a tire than you would normally want to do.
I would say so. I mean, we haven't seen anybody really run that middle line, so don't really know what it does, but when it's the unused line, it's definitely going to wear those tires out a little bit quicker and could put a hurt on them, could give an opening to KJ back there.
Really could, and now you got Fugate running that extreme low line. We haven't seen nobody make that work all night long, but he's going to try it underneath teammates Canis off the turn number 4, 31 of the 9 cars. And the Jeff and Jeff show we've called for years over here at Hobo, a pair of well-documented teammates. They run really good. They work on setups together. Their cars usually pretty close to identical as far as handling go. Doing a great job running up there 3rd and 4th. KJ trying to find his way around. Caleb Lingle leading over Herman Reese. I've been kind of back here following the progress of the number 13 of Harry Cody and the 4th of our 4-car contenders. I think that 13, Blake, it hasn't given up the ghost yet, but doesn't look so hot for the 13's chances right now. Running in 16th, I think that car may have taken one too many hits to call itself competitive. That's a tough way to end the year, but you're proud to make the Final 4. You hate to not be a competitive car in the Final 4.
Certainly, Philly's about 4 or 5 tenths off what the leaders are running right now. Just too much damage on that 13 car. So unless something drastic happens, which we've been seeing that as of late, here at Hobo, his chances to win a championship are all pretty much done. But how about we look up front? We were just talking about the Jeff and Jeff show. One of them's trying to battle Caleb Lingle and take the lead away using that bottom side. He's been getting it done. He makes his way around Herman Reese, and he's going to try to eye that 113 forward. If you're Caleb Lingle, how hard do you race Fugate here, knowing that you're not really racing him, but you'd like to have that buffer between you and the other championship contenders, especially now as KJ, he'll make the pass for the 4th spot.
I'm going to tell you what, you do not give up. If you're the 113, I don't care if the 9 car is not a guy you're racing for a championship. The foot has to stay buried in the throttle, and I say that because I've watched how these cars get in the dirty air. Once you get past, I saw the 29's car step out. Herman Reese's car stepped out when the 9 car got a big run. The 31 car in dirty air, that thing really stepped out even. So if I'm the 113, I do not want the turbulence of a 9 car passing me. It's going to make that car really evil handling, and if you let that car go, you look in the mirror, Herman Reese isn't too far behind. Caleb is going to keep his foot on the gas. Who cares about tires right now? You got to win this race to win the championship if you're the 113. I got to think so.
And one guy that's looking to win this championship, he has a fast hot rod right now. He is looking for every which way around that Cadillac in front of him, and he has the speed to do it as we're approaching 16 laps to go on the season here at Hobo. KJ, his car starting to come to life here. Looks like he was just trying to find any way around that 73 he can. It looks like he'll have a better exit here than Herman. What's he going to do with it? It's just so hard to get strung out on these straightaways. You have to get a huge run either going in or coming out of the corner to really have a chance here. So KJ just biding his time, knowing how important it is. Once you go for that pass and you don't make it, you give up a lot of time, so you have to be smart about when you do it. And KJ just looking for that opportunity.
You really have to be smart and be patient for it. Herman now, car goes up the hill. KJ maybe going to take a peek off the exit of 2 and thought he may have a run there, maybe not. And I got to tell you what, the drama of what we're looking at right now, this the excitement building. I think it's something that NASCAR is trying to duplicate with the Cup Series and all the other series for a long time. This will make the magic of esports racing so great. We've seen so many races here. Just in the last week alone, racing for championships. You can't duplicate what we're seeing here night after night. You can certainly try, but you think back to Sunday night where Kyle Busch put the stinker on the field. It was kind of really anticlimactic late. It's anything but anticlimactic right now as Fugate's car gets really loose. KJ, the aggressive move alongside. 29 car up the third of the top 3. That's 1, 2, 3 in the championship. The cream of his rise to the top here with 15 laps remaining. Can you get better than this for a Tuesday night, Blake? I don't think so.
I don't think you can. KJ did a really nice job there pinching that Fugate down or riding right on his door. I won't say he was pinching him down. He ran him clean, but he ran right on his door and tried to take all of that exit away from Fugate. He does it right there, and Herman Reese starting to march down Caleb Lingle just a little bit. Reese using that draft, and it's a tough spot to be in if you're Lingle. How much do you save your tires when you're in the lead and you have that draft pulling that guy up behind you? It's a really difficult thing to manage. How much do you save and how much do you try to get away from these guys? And right now, Lingle just trying to play that balance with a hungry Reese and KJ right behind him.
KJ is driving that car for all he is worth. Herman Reese there in the middle. I think that's going to be the guy to watch because if Caleb slips up for sure, 73 cars going around, and now that I think he starts playing a little bit of defense and offense as we come to 10 laps remaining. I'm going to ask you that same question, Bobby. Herman Reese right now running in that second spot. We know the KJ 29's quick. 113 car up ahead. Looks like it may be getting a little bit tight. Where does Herman start playing offense versus defense? You got to be offensive, all offensive here to win a championship, don't we?
I think at this point, I mean, for the 73, he's one of those guys that he's trying to play both sides of the ball because he's offense trying to get by that 113, but he's also got the 029 breathing down his neck, and he's got to keep some defense on him to keep him behind him so he can get after that 113 himself.
Sometimes to pass guys like this, you got to kind of pass them where they're not running. You see that 29 car, Blake, going all the way down to the low end that time in 1 and 2. Can he possibly find some speed down there on a part of the racetrack that there's been no speed in all night long? Love to take on it. You got to pass them where they're not. But can you make it happen this many laps left to go?
Well, if that lap was any indication, I think not, Phil. There's just so little grip down there. If you're going to make it happen, I think you just have to go to the middle, and you also just have to pull a slide job. Sail it in there real deep, hope you clear the other guy, and if he wants to try and go low after that, well, by God, that's racing. But you see it right here. KJ all the way to the bottom. Makes up some ground, but then the exit speed and not having the draft makes such a difference. It's just so hard to try and make something happen there. But Reese is going to try to do the same thing with Lingle, and this is where Reese is going to have to be smart. If he goes for the pass on Lingle and it doesn't work, KJ's going to be all over it.
Yeah, and I was going to tell you, I thought he was going to go for a full send right there, and I think he felt that car getting a little bit light, looked in the mirror, saw KJ with the run, and KJ now going to try to capitalize on the 73 car, maybe getting a little tad bit loose at the race for the runner-up spot. It makes for a really good picture to look at, makes a really good story to talk about, but if you're the 113 car of Caleb Lingle looking in the mirror, go ahead and keep racing it out, boys. Ain't that right?
Oh, yeah. At this point, you just got to kind of look forward. 6 laps to go. Being first is all that matters, and the other thing you have to think about, if you're Caleb Lingle, you're not getting as much draft. I don't think fuel will come into play, but you have to think he's not getting the draft that these guys behind him are getting. Can that be a factor here with now just 6 laps to go? Caleb Lingle, he's actually clutching, so he thinks he might be short on fuel here.
Oh my goodness, it sure is, and it really stacked up the run of the field over there off the exit of turn number 2, and now you saw Herman Reese up the hill. KJ took a thought down to the low side. That's racing up front. Do not count out veterans like Fugate and Stakanis. Those two guys that you know for sure they know what the 3 up ahead of them are racing for, but if the 3 up front start getting a little tad bit racy and get loose, Jeff Stakanis and Jeff Fugate, those are 2 really good veteran drivers, they may steal a win away here on championship night. You see them giving all the room in the world as classy gentlemen as they are, but at what point do racers become racers and they see these guys, mixing it up? There may be an opportunity for the 9 car to go steal a checkered flag.
There might be, but these guys are going to have to wreck each other for that to happen. They're just too fast, and obviously they're too far back, but Reese, he has to know, he has to look in front of him. He sees Lingle's car dipping down, as you saw right there as they go into 1. He knows that Lingle is pushing it on fuel. If you're Reese, you're having to push him as hard as possible, make him try to run that fuel out. And then obviously you're looking for some way around him as we're going to approach 3 laps to go this next time around. You're just, can I get a run on him? Can I make something happen? Because right now Reese just looks like he's stalled out behind him, and KJ looking about the same.
Bobby, I'm going to ask you, as hard as this thing is to pass, the insight I want to give you this last couple of laps, if somebody can get the run to maybe potentially make a pass, can you pass? Is there potential for somebody to pass clean? Can they complete a pass clean right now? And where does that etiquette go out the window? It's time to race for a championship. All bets are off now, right?
I would say for the most part, but I mean, at the same time, you still have to be kind of careful because you don't want to wreck yourself either and take yourself out of a potential win and a championship.
He studied what I did a couple of years ago to myself. Happened to me. Did for sure. Made that mistake before. But, Blake, we're coming down to it this time by. We're going to get white flag on the racetrack. 1 more trip around. Caleb Lingle was holding on. Herman Reese and KJ, they are going after each other. We got 1.5 miles left. All the drama. It is time to pay out the trophy. Who's going to get it 1 lap away?
1 lap away in the season in 2019 for a championship. Lingle will clutch and go up high. Herman Reese will try it down low for the final time off of 1 and 2. Lingle going to use the high side and has a mirror full of 2 wide behind him. Caleb Lingle, 5 wins on the season, but perhaps none are going to be bigger than this. As they come out of 4 for the final time, it's going to be Caleb Lingle who takes the win and the championship here at Hobo.
Wow, and a race for second right there goes up in smoke as Herman Reese and KJ were getting at it. They didn't make it along the finish line straight, but they will finish up second and third. Caleb Lingle, the 2019 Hobo Racing Cup Series champion. Wow, one of the greatest races we have seen here in a long time on the pavement on the network. The 113 takes down the win. Herman Reese will finish up second. KJ Kilojules third. Jeff Fugate fourth. Jeff Stakanis with a top 5 5, Ralph Pauly, terrific run for the 61. He'll finish up 6th. Randy Smith will finish 7th. Maverick with a good solid run. He gets a top 10 to finish 8th. Eddie Rayleigh 9th. And Pushrod, the number 17, Pushrod, he gets a good solid top 10 to finish up the year.
He certainly does. And then how about Brett Carter in 11th? Keith McLean will finish it up 12th. Bob Gibson 13th. Brendan Spadafora, Jet Nation brings it home 14th. Steve Grant 15th. Harry Codian 16th. Ricky Bumbleau 17th. Troy Donahue 18th. And then the drivers that did not see the checkered flag tonight: Ron Simpson at 19th, Ryan Keller 20th, Wiley King 21st, Jordan McGregor 22nd, Gary Moore in 23rd, Rich Knappich 24th, Jason Sandiego 25th, Duke Sorensen 26th, Steve Rubino 27th, Kevin Roy 28th, Danny Rubino 29th, and then 30th was Manny Diaz. So 30-car field ends this season here at Hobo, and a huge win as Caleb Lingle is your 2019 Cup Series champion.
This is going to be a great post-race show to get to, so we're going to attempt to get these guys screened out real quick. We'll run down here. I'm going to talk to a very, very happy champion down there with Caleb Lingle. We're going to send Blake down to see if we can't talk to his second-place finisher tonight, Herman Reese, and also the number 29 of KJ Kilojewel. So we'll try to work a little bit of traffic, and the glasses on the head here craned sideways, trying to figure out who is where. There we go. I think we got them all sorted out. I think we're ready for the BlakeNo.com Full Velocity post-race show tonight. The champion will be Caleb Lingle. Fortunately, Blake, we get the other two gentlemen on the podium. Going to come up short with a great race indeed. I think we're going to give it to you first. You can get third place on KJ finishing up third tonight.
Was moved to your channel.
Indeed, I've caught up with the third place finisher tonight, KJ Kilojewels. And KJ, you rebounded pretty well out there, but just didn't seem to have enough to run those guys down. It looked like it was really hard to pass out there, and I don't know, what was it from your perspective?
Yeah, it was really hard to pass. You can get up under them, but if you didn't clear them off the corner, they had so much momentum, they would just drive right back around you. But the car, I don't know what happened. It was pretty good in practice. We got into race mode, and it was just awful. I couldn't get in the gas at all through 3 and 4. I wrecked it a couple times, so I kind of just backed it down and rode around. I kept making adjustments on it, and I finally got the car. It was pretty good there at the end. I think I was a little faster than them. It's just so hard to pass. You couldn't go nowhere. You're basically, I was hoping Herman would get up under him. That way I could pass Herman on the outside. It didn't break Caleb, but it didn't quite work out that way.
Well, and we were both, or all of us up here in the booth, were watching that battle and kind of noticing that Caleb Lingle, he was clutching a little bit. I know fuel mileage didn't really come into factor for you and Herman, but did you have any thought in the back of your mind that perhaps that battle that you were having with Herman was for the championship, since Lingle was kind of being a little bit, he was trying to save as much fuel as he could?
Yeah, I could hear him clutching the first couple laps of that run. Every once in a while we'd run up on him. I knew it was close, so I knew if I raced Herman, it would probably ruin our chances of trying to pass Caleb, but I was wondering if Caleb was going to run out or not, so I was trying to pass Herman in case Caleb did run out. I'd be in front of Herman.
Absolutely, KJ. Well, we'll keep it short and sweet. A solid third-place effort, an incredible season where you took down 7 wins, 23 top 5s. Definitely can't hold your head after that. I'll throw you the mic for one last time here in 2019 and give a shout-out to anybody out there who kind of put you through this entire wild season.
Yeah, it was a really good season. It was my first actual full season in a long time. I usually run partial seasons everywhere. A little bit of a letdown. The way I had led the chase, I pretty much led it from the first race. But yeah, 7 wins, 20-some top 5s. I mean, best average finish in the league. It was a really good season. I want to give a shout out to all my PPR2 teammates. They helped me along the way. Danny, Keith, Matt, Ricky, Brian Voiles, especially for Brian Voiles sponsoring the chase here with the broadcasted races. I want to give you guys, shout out to you guys in the booth at Full Velocity. I've been listening to them on racing. Pretty entertaining. A bunch of yellows here in the middle part of the race, but the beginning and end was pretty good. And I want to give a thanks to all the admins at Hobo for putting the series on, letting us race here, and doing the whole chase. It's a really good season. Come back and do it next year.
And we'll look forward to every moment of 2020 here at Hobo. And KJ, again, a salute to you. A fantastic season, although it comes up just a bit short tonight at Homestead. Certainly nothing you can hang your head about, but we'll be back with you. We'll look forward to it in 2020. Meanwhile, we have a second place interview up next. It's with the driver of that 73 Cadillac, Herman Reese. And Herman came up one spot short, but kind of talk to us about that race. You worked your way up slowly, got right to Caleb. We were talking about it with KJ. It just seemed like it was very hard to try to make a pass here tonight with how even you guys were.
Yeah, it was. And last night we all tested together, and all four of us, Harry included, and Keith was in here, we were all about the exact same speed. And I knew after last year's race and the experience here that whoever was up front was going to have the advantage as long as they didn't get stuck to the wall. I did everything I wanted to do. The only thing that didn't happen that was supposed to is he didn't run out of gas. So hats off to Caleb for that. It was a great race. I thought it was kind of cool that, unfortunately, Harry had his issues, but the three of us right there, the last 10 laps. And honestly, those two guys have had a hell of a year. And it was the three of us pretty much all year through the points. So it was kind of cool to see.
It certainly was. The cream rose to the top when it mattered the most, and you guys certainly put on a great show for us. But, kind of talk about 2019 as a whole for you guys. Obviously, started the chase probably a little bit slower than you were accustomed to, but still a lot of wins to talk about for you this year. And obviously, pretty much a factor to win any one of these deals any night we came out to the racetrack, but just kind of put a bow on the season for the 73 camp for us.
Well, it started off a little slow, and then it picked up momentum and picked up those early wins and was able to close on KJ. KJ had led the points almost the entire year, and right there with about 3 weeks ago, we won the regular season and definitely struggled. Very fortunate to make it in even to the top four the way that my chase went. And those were all very strong tracks that sometimes just bad luck. I think back at Dover running inside the top 10 and last lap restart and end up finishing 25th or something. So, but, having the opportunity to even run for the championship right here at the end was just very fortunate for me. I felt bad. It was good to see. You saw Jeff Fugate was up there. He was a guy that was, all the players were in this race, and that's how it's been every week. I'm telling you, I feel really terrible about, there was some contact with the 15, and he possibly was the class of the field tonight, and I feel bad about taking him out. And you just saw that whenever you had to take advantage of every little bit you could get, because these front guys are just too good. They don't make mistakes. It was a good season. Most competition we've ever had over here, and looking forward for 2020.
No doubt about it. We are as well, because you never know what competition might be added for next season. But for one last time in 2019, Herman, I'll give you the mic and go ahead and give a shout out to everybody out there who helped you power through this wild season.
All right. Thank you. Thank you guys. First of all, help us out. The chase races have been absolutely phenomenal, broadcasts and watching them, and that, you guys do such a great job. That's history. It stays up, and you go back and look at this years later. Steve and Dan Rubino for putting up with everybody and all the crap that they have to put up with through the year. It's a long season. We run the exact season, actually longer than the Cup guys, because we don't have weeks off like they do. And those guys have to put up with a lot and do a lot of work behind the scenes. And the drivers, it was a great year. I hope we keep this car count and the competition and everything goes good, and look forward to it. And thanks again.
Well, thank you, Herman. We'll obviously look forward to seeing you back here in 2020. Obviously, we'll come back and look for you to win some more races here. But there's one guy that won a race tonight, and he got it done for the 6th time in 2019, and because of that, he brings home the 2019 Hobo Cup Series Championship. That's Caleb Lingle, who's caught up with our own Phil Lacasse.
Yeah, and Caleb Lingle is one happy guy as he climbed out of the race car, gets it done in a big way tonight here. Caleb, the 2019 Hobo Racing Cup Series champion. That has a great ring to it, man. We just talked about with Herman and with KJ. You guys tested here, all four of you together last night. Did you ever imagine the scenario? What played through your mind all night long last night trying to sleep, all day long at work and doing what you do, thinking about this race tonight, man? How many times this race play into your mind, and did this thing come out scenario absolutely perfect?
It came out like a dream. I didn't picture it this way at all. Like I said, Herman, KJ, and Harry, we all practiced a little bit last night just to see what each other had, and they all were pretty quick. It was going to be who had the track position there. It was hard to pass down low. You can get good run down the middle corner, but the high line was just dominant on the outside coming out, and you get the good straightaway speed. But I didn't see this happening. I'm thrilled.
Now take me through this last. They call it 5 laps. They're coming to the end. Are you feeling every rattle in the race car, every vibration around you, possibly something going wrong? How much you in the mirror peeking, watching those guys go double wide behind you? Or is it all, were you concentrated from there, looking out the windshield, nervous about hitting your marks? How much emotion are you feeling there in those last 5 laps, knowing that, hey, this thing is in my lap as long as I don't throw it away?
Yeah, it was. I had to not make a mistake was one thing, and I was watching them behind me. I was hoping they'd battle side by side, which they were a little bit. But the biggest thing was I was watching was the fuel. I was 2 laps short of fuel whenever we went back to green, and I was doing all I could during that run, just kind of lifting early, just clutching when I could to save the fuel. And fortunately, I was able to. I was watching that fuel gauge more than I pretty much was anything. But so when I got a little gap on Herman, I would save what I could, and every little bit when I started that run helped me to get to the end.
Now, I got to ask you, of all the races you've won here, 6 times now a winner this season, of course, this is a big one, the championship, all the races that you've won here over the last couple of years. Is this the most special one of your sim racing career? Does it get any bigger than this? This one has to feel special, bud.
Oh, yeah, this is the big one. To win a race over here is hard, but to win the championship with it, with 30-plus guys, a lot of fast guys over here, good racing, and it's going to stick with me for a while as far as one to remember. So it's probably my biggest one ever.
I love it. I love the emotion coming out of that one. Caleb, buddy, well, as our 2019 Hobo Cup Series champion, let me give you the microphone one more time, allows you to that special moment and take your time with it. All the people that help you get out here tonight, the friends that support you, the family that supports you, maybe sponsors that may come your way, anybody you want to say hello to or thank there, bud, as our series champ, the floor is all yours. Take it away and give those all people a salute.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate Hobo for putting this on, and you guys for broadcasting, and Voiles Trucking for doing the sponsors, and appreciate my family sacrificing this week for letting me to test a whole bunch for this track. So I put a lot of time on this track, and appreciate everybody putting up with that. And say hello to my wife and my 4 sons, family that are watching, friends that are watching. I appreciate my teammates helping me out with everything, and I appreciate Herman and KJ there racing me pretty clean. And all year long they've raced me really good, and others have too. So big thanks to everybody here in the league that's raced me good.
It's a feel-great moment down here on BladeNode.com, Victory Lane. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is, the 2019 Hobo Cup Series champion, Caleb Lingle, taking down the trophy here tonight. Not only is the race winner, but most importantly, the 2019 Cup Series champion, Blake. And these guys said there's no off weeks over here. We don't get off weeks on the Real Cup cars. They go 40 weeks in a row. That's a gauntlet to throw right there, and nobody did it better. Caleb Lingle, our series champion. Hats off to that guy. So much respect for a run like that.
User was moved out of your channel.
No doubt about it. A fantastic job by Caleb Lingle and really all these drivers over here at Hobo. Like they said, 30 guys strong for 40 weeks a year. That's quite an accomplishment for Danny and Steve and the rest of the guys over here at Hobo. They have a lot to be proud of, and obviously put on a great run for us there at the end to see these top 3 guys, have a shot and a run at the championship to kind of duke it out themselves. So just so many good things to say about what's been going on over here at Hobo this year, and I know I speak for all of us here at FVRN. We're really proud to be a part of it.
We really are, and I gotta say to our buddy Bobby Farrell for joining us here tonight. Bobby, I'm sure you paid attention. That's a 40-race schedule. You're a guy who doesn't like to let any league, end the calendar year and switch over to next year. this could be something. Could you possibly circle us on a calendar? Is Tuesday night look really good to come challenge these guys for 40 weeks next year? You got a battle like that in you?
I don't know about that. I mean, 40 weeks is definitely a long time. Of course, like, got the guys on the real life side of racing. They run 36, so it's not a whole lot of difference. But 40 weeks, that definitely is a grind.
And it's a grind to deal with this guy, too, on a daily basis. Love him to death. Glad he came. Glad we had all you guys out here tonight for enjoying this awesome show. Thanks to all you that watched here tonight via Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch TV. Thank you to our great sponsors here at the network, Hanover Wrecker Service, iRacingIFlag.com. Can't do none of this without Brian and Kathy Voiles of Voiles Trucking. We thank them so much for what they're doing here at the network. Also going to thank Tim over at CCM Custom Designs and Engraving, BladeNode.com, South Texas Speedway, Charlie Milner over at Milner Media Production Design, TDR Racing League, Team Hard Motorsports, Trash Panda Graphics, and JP Designs for Jack Truan, for Todd Stanton, for Bobby Farrell, and God, this guy right here, Blake McHale, one of the best in the business. Blake, it's been a pleasure these last 10 weeks to share the mic with you, man. I'm hoping we get to do this a lot more. I know you're going to be going back and forth with me over at BSR this winter, but I know a lot of potential NR stuff lies ahead for the network, and if I can make it happen, dude, you're the voice I want to put on it, guy. You have come to life here. It's time for me to step aside and let you become a star. You become a long way, dude. I'm so proud of you.
Well, I appreciate that, Phil. It's just been a lot of fun, and it's why I do this. It's a lot of fun to come and watch these guys. So very appreciative for the opportunity, and kind of thanks for bringing me on these last, 8 or 9 weeks or so over here at Hobo, because it's been a lot of fun.
Can't do it without you, man. I hope to do it a whole lot more again. So for all these guys here, for all the group at Hobo Racing, Steve Rubino, Danny Rubino, the entire staff, all the drivers that deal with us, Phil LaCasse here, going to sign off. This 2019 Hobo Cup Series season has been great. Hoping we'll be back here for a whole lot more in the year 2020. Have a great night, everybody. See you back here live tomorrow night. DWRL, Wednesday Night Street Fights here live on your source for esports racing, the Full Velocity Racing Network. Good night, everybody.